Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Canadian Car Review Show. Today we'll be doing the 2015 BMW i8 at Bud's BMW. So what's interesting about the 2015 i8 is it uses the same architecture design as the i3, except that it has a lot more power, has an all-wheel drive system, so it includes an electric drive system in the front end and a combustion engine in the rear, which gives it its all-wheel drive performance. 0 to 60 can be achieved in 4.4 seconds with a top speed of 250 kilometers an hour using both the combustion and the electric engine. It's one of the first vehicles as a hybrid vehicle that can achieve 2.1 liters per 100 kilometers and is part of BMW's efficiency dynamics management team that have been developing this car since 2009. Overall, it's got very sleek lines compared to conventional vehicles. Its number one signature is the U-shaped headlamp design in the rear. The body's made from plastic composite and carbon fiber and still consists of a life module and the drive module.
So today we have a 2015 BMW i8. It's BMW's first attempt to a hybrid sports car. It has the electric iDrive system, a little bit different than the i3s, but it also includes a 3-cylinder 1.5 liter combustion engine. That's part of the efficiency dynamics profile. That's rated at 230 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque. The electric drive engine's rated at 131 horsepower. And you have different driving modes. You can actually just activate the electric side of the vehicle if you prefer to just drive electric most of the time. Or you can activate the sports mode and you can drive both electric and combustion engine, depending on the road conditions and what characteristics of driving you have at that very specific time. So this car has a lot of jam-packed technology. It will always try to drive in the most efficient manner, even though you're in sports mode. You also have in the center console several features or buttons. You can just activate the iDrive system, so you can only drive in electric mode, or you can take it out of that mode, and again the car will compensate for itself and know which driving characteristic to follow. So this car is the next level of the i3. It's got way more technology jam-packed into it. The i3 was just kind of the center of attention of getting the life module and the drive module together and making an electric vehicle that's sustainable for the consumer market. So with this vehicle, your battery range is a lot different. It goes by, this car is more focused on, is a lot more focused in performance than efficiency in terms of actual dynamics. So your battery range is probably only around 30 kilometers, depending on if it's a cold day like this, it's probably a little bit less. However, your combustion engine acts like a generator. So that's why you only need a 3-cylinder 1.5 liter to do all the work. And again, it's a twin power engine. It's not twin turbo, it's just twin power. So it's BMW's trademark engines that they have and they've been using for a little bit now. And pretty much what it does is it generates enough power. It has an open range of revs. They don't really tell you exactly how high the engine can rev. I'm sure you could probably get it out of the specification charts. And then when we do the in-depth review of the actual vehicle, we'll probably go over that as well to give you an idea. But today is going to be a test drive review of the vehicle. So far, it's all premium quality, everything that you would expect from a BMW. Now, on the internet, there's not too much good ratings of this vehicle, and I think a lot of consumers kind of miss the idea and the concept behind the actual vehicle itself. This is one of the first hybrid electric vehicles that's in a relatively reasonable price range. So these start anywhere from 140,000 Canadian. I know it sounds like a lot, but you do get the performance of a sports car. It's got 50-50 weight distribution. So it's got a little bit better road handling. Well, actually, it should have a lot better road handling than the i3. And in terms of sportness, we'll find out in the test drive. You also get a lot of technology, so I'm going to show you guys the gauges and everything in a minute as I do the test drive review. And again, it's a little bit different. You see there's different driving characteristics and different gauges that we're going to go through that I have to learn myself. And what's awesome about the vehicle is it actually achieves fantastic fuel mileage and range for its concept. And again, they rate the vehicle, I'm assuming this is an Eco Pro mode, you can get it down to 2.1 liters per 100 kilometers fuel efficiency, with a decent range as well. Right now, just by sitting in the vehicle, it actually says the range is so far somebody's been averaging 7.5 liters per 100 kilometers, which is still an amazing number for a vehicle of its performance. And yeah, it's like I said, it's got the BMW heritage. The steering wheel is a nice small leather wrapped steering wheel. It's got your cruise control settings, voice recognition, phone connectivity, and your volume controls and your modes. You got paddle shifters. You still have your amazing iDrive system, and then you have a TFT screen as your gauge cluster, similar to the i3 but a little bit more enhanced. It's got the awesome scissor doors. I found a bit of a challenge trying to get into the car very cleanly because it's snowed a bit, so I took my time getting in because of the white leather interior. But other than that, this car does come equipped in different variations and trims. The best trim that they have right now is the Impulse trim, and that gives you a little bit more power, changes the interior, and it just fine-tunes the battery pack and the engine a little bit to perform it a little bit better. Again, you still have the conventional iDrive system, as I mentioned. You have your basic radio, BMW controls, HVAC controls, the heated seats, rear defrosting window, and you have your driving modes. You have comfort, Eco Pro, and Sport mode, backup camera, front parking and rear parking assist, traction control. You still have your iDrive menu, and you have an electronic brake release, or emergency brake. So just to go through the iDrive menu to give you guys an idea of what we're going through here. You still have your multimedia, and again, the iDrive console is it has a capacitive controller here, so you can actually write down a letter, or you can have a signature, or write down a character itself, and it'll go through your settings. So you still have your multimedia, you have your external devices that you can hook up, Bluetooth connectivity, auxiliary ports, your phone, USB, all that stuff is in the consoles here, and somebody's cell phone's already here. So yeah, it's already loaded to the to fulfill your driving characteristics or what you prefer. Has your traditional BMW tone menu, so your bass, treble, balance, fade, volume settings. And what I like about it is that this car is much more efficient than most cars out there. It's revolutionized. It's a new product, but they still keep the heritage items in the BMW, so you don't get confused, or it doesn't discourage you to buy the vehicle. It still feels like a BMW. I'm 6'1", so this car is kind of small for me. However, to be honest with you, the seating position is really comfortable. I'm sure nobody can sit behind me though. Although there is seats in the back, I wouldn't recommend sticking anybody back there really. But overall, it's actually a very comfortable cockpit. It actually warmed up pretty quick. It's apparently it's only minus 3.5 degrees Celsius outside, but it feels like minus 20 out there, and it warmed up pretty good. So, and again, it has that that high efficiency HVAC controlling unit that was found in the i3. So again, they've applied all of the high efficiency standards from the i3 to the i8, but just made the i8 way better in terms of performance. So you still have your radio controls. Again, I'm not going to go through it. You guys already know what's going on with the iDrive system. You have your telephone system, navigation, your office options, connected drive, vehicle info. And again, vehicle info covers your eDrive menu. And it's probably a little bit more in depth because of the eDrive button that's available on the vehicle itself. You can just switch to electric, or have a combination of electric and the combustion engine itself. You still have all your quick references, search by picture for the owner's manual, onboard information, trip computer, vehicle status. Now, vehicle status will probably be a little bit more in-depth. It's probably a little bit more traditional to the BMW because it has a combustion engine. And exactly what I figured, that's exactly what's going on. And just to give you guys a heads up, the combustion engine just started. It started with a bit of a burble. And I would say it's revving probably around 500 RPM, just like, you know, at idle. And the battery's still adequate. Actually, no, the battery range is depleted, so this car probably wasn't charged. Again, I picked it up just from the lot, but I still have half a tank of fuel, so it's going to be more than enough to do the review. And you can check your tire pressure monitoring system, you can perform the reset, you can check your engine oil levels, measure the engine oil level, service requirements, and you can check the control system itself. So now the engine is revving a little bit higher. It's different because, and it just shut off. So that's different. That's kind of cool. I guess it's just doing a check, or maybe just a boost of electricity to the battery to keep it running while I'm in the steady state. I do have the HVAC controller on, but it's on very low, and it's just to keep the temperature going in the car so it doesn't freeze up on me. So yeah, so there's again, it's got the 360-degree detection around the vehicle itself. You can turn it off, so that turns off frontal collision warning and individual safety warning. That is protected 360 degrees of the vehicle. I'll leave it on. There's no need to really turn off. To me, that seems like a very good feature to have, especially when this car is very quiet. There's also a heads-up display that you guys probably can't see. It's built in somewhere in the dash here, but what it's doing is it's actually displaying my speedometer right now onto the glass, and it's like a white colored LCD look, or a light, and there's a lot of sunlight and glare coming through my driver's window, and this comes out crystal clear. So really, you can keep your eyes on the road, and you don't even have to look at the electronics. So if you guys are worried that the car has got too many electronics, don't worry about it. It still has your fundamental features of a BMW. It does have a surround sound system. So that's pretty good. I mean, I could crank it, but there's no need for it, really. If you guys are really into the market of purchasing this vehicle, you're going to go out and take a look. The soft touch materials, everything it's got a nice finishing. Unlike the i3, where it's made out of 25% recycled material, this is all wrapped in leather, guys. It's got a nice stitching pattern. You got like this nice plastic design with the blue lines to complement the electric version of the vehicle. You got blue stitching in the doors. This is all wrapped in leather. You got, soft touch leather material on the siding here. You still have your hard composite plastics, obviously, for your main system. And then you have your traditional BMW shifter, which also has Sport Plus. It doesn't have a DS mode. I'm assuming it should have something to do with the paddle shifters. We'll figure that out in a minute. So, yeah, again, I'm ranting on. It's just because I want to give it a good review and let you guys know what you're about to buy if you are in the market for something of this nature. It is a different vehicle. There's not many competitors out there, especially in the North American market. I mean, Mercedes has come out with a fully electric sports car, but that thing's worth $400,000, and it only gets about 150 kilometers range, but it does 300 kilometers an hour. Whereas this comes into a reasonable range. You have the hybrid efficiency, so if you are the type of person that wants to take this vehicle on a long road trip, you can do it very easily because it has the combustion engine and you can fill it up with fuel. Okay guys, so I'm ready to drive off. So I have it in comfort mode, hopefully. Yes, I have it in comfort mode, so the way we find out is from the actual gauge cluster itself. I could switch to Eco Pro. And to go into sport mode, you would activate the BMW shifter, and that throws it into sport and turns on the combustion engine. So right now we'll start in Eco Pro. We'll start from the least most powerful, where iDrive is mostly kicking in. and we'll go from there. So it does show that the battery is charged. So we'll see how much power it actually has. So the car does sit low. You tend to actually sit into the car itself, so the hood is actually above you. It's very quiet. I can tell you right now, just from driving the i3 and the i8 is much more refined. And the regenerative braking doesn't kick in as easy as the i3 does. And the gas engine is on. Wow, the heads-up display is actually fantastic. It's telling me what my speed limit is in the area, and just the angle that it's shooting at from the windshield, it's actually very, very good. It really tells you what's going on. So Eco Pro really does tune down the engine. It's really keeping the car in reserve. It is not aggressive at all. This would be like your everyday driver mode that you would drive with. I'm still trying to get a little bit used to driving this vehicle because the door sits much higher, so you got to find where to put your arm. But the center armrest is in a really nice position, so you can actually just put your hand there. And the cockpit, it's got a nice. It's very spacious for the driver itself. Like, again, I'm 6'1" and I feel very comfortable driving this. Now, try not to really pay attention to the gauges just yet because I'm trying to get the feel of the car. I definitely don't feel regenerative braking in Eco Pro. I don't know if it's just a mild regenerative braking system or something that you can actually program into the vehicle. It does give you a better indication of your iDrive unit and of you actually using the iDrive unit. You also do have a boost gauge, an e-boost gauge, so I'm assuming that would be used in sport mode. The tachometer is kind of cool. It kind of tells you your efficiency of where you can drive in electric. So right now, if you're looking at the gauge cluster, you'll see there's a dark blue area, and that's pretty much covers anywhere from 0 to 120 kilometers an hour, and that tells you that's the top speed that you can drive in electric range in this mode. Anything after that, the combustion engine is going to kick in and help you exceed those speeds. So again, the drivetrain's a little bit different. In Eco Pro, it also controls your HVAC controls, really monitors the usage and tries to keep it in its most efficient manner. And in terms of visibility, this vehicle is actually not restrictive at all. Like, it's you can see out of every angle. The only obstacle that I would see having a hard time is if you were going to reverse the vehicle, but that's what the backup camera's for. But other than that, your side windows and everything, you got fantastic viewing. The suspension's actually pretty decent. I mean, for having a low center of gravity, it's actually really absorbing all the hits without any issues. It's got no problems. And unlike the i3, once I start taking my foot off the brake just a little bit, the car wants to roll naturally. And I'm assuming that's the electric drive system kicking in to give you that kind of that rolling feature of the feel of a vehicle. So I'll take this turn, just give you an idea how the acceleration is in Eco Pro. Now, it's still decent. It's really nice. Like, I have no problems driving an Eco Pro. It does feel a little bit restrictive to the pedal. I'm going to put it in comfort, and right away, now I've kept my foot at the same pressure, the same acceleration pressure on the pedal, and right away when I shifted to comfort, I had a boost of pressure. So now it feels like that car is actually moving a little bit more naturally. It's not being held down by the computer system itself. And the heads-up display is actually phenomenal. Like, once you start driving this vehicle, you're you'll really like the heads-up display. It's really nice, crisp, and it's bright. So we're in comfort mode. So comfort mode is, so you have the Eco Pro and Comfort, and then you have Sport. So I'm going to leave it in Comfort and see how it accelerates a little bit. Now the road conditions are pretty dry. There's not much salt or anything like that on the ground. And what's awesome is the gasoline engine's off right now. So I'm pretty much sitting at a red light, just like I would be in an i3 with 0 emissions and just relying on the battery. Wow, that is amazing. I just went from 0 to 70 in a matter of a couple of seconds. And you heard the gasoline engine kick in right away. The gasoline engine did kick in. I wasn't even full throttle. I was like maybe half, but I just gave it that throttle response right away. So the engine woke up right away. You felt the car had, the electric system did kick in, but the combustion engine came in right away and it delivered. So the power is definitely there. That's pretty phenomenal just for comfort mode. And what's interesting enough, it seems that the engine just likes to... Oh, regenerative braking. Sorry, I want to interrupt here. As I'm coming downhill into a coast, the regenerative braking, you can actually feel it engage a lot more now at a little bit higher speeds. And it's actually sustaining it. The gauge is actually showing you that I'm still charging the batteries, and even with the slightest brake effort I put into, it's actually helping the battery charge. So yeah, your regenerative braking system definitely does work. It probably happens at a little bit higher speeds than the i3, and once you start taking your foot off the accelerator, it's not as aggressive. It's still not as aggressive. And it's interesting because, I mean, it is a 3-cylinder 1.5 liter engine sitting in the back, but it actually sounds pretty decent in here. Like, I don't even have the stereo system on because I want you guys to hear the sound, and it actually sounds pretty decent. I would never suspect that it's a 3-cylinder engine. You would think it's, you know, a decent size engine back there. I wouldn't say it sounds like a V8, but it does have a nice sound to it. So again, the vehicle drives very naturally. Like, I don't have any resistance driving this vehicle. It drives just like an ordinary car. You would think... Unbelievable. The torque is unbelievable, guys. You have to test drive one of these to feel it. It is not a slouch. It's whatever people are telling you guys on the internet. If you read about it and they say the vehicle's got all this hype but really it doesn't deliver, it does. It actually does. And you know, you would know right away by test driving this vehicle if it performs or not. And hands down, the performance is definitely in this vehicle itself. I'm not even in sport mode. And I even lost my train of thought what I was just saying to you guys back there. Something about how great the car drives. So let's try it in sport now. So now, it feels like it downshifted, but really it didn't. It's got a lot more power, definitely. A lot more pickup. This is the mode that you would probably want to use when you're when you want to show off with another sports car and get 7.5 liters per 100 kilometers at the same time. And the turbo, unlike most of BMW's twin power cars, you actually hear the turbo spool in this vehicle, and it sounds really nice. It's got a nice rumble or a nice twirl sound, and the engine sounds like, it really does sound pretty good for a 3-cylinder. I would never suspect this is a 3-cylinder engine. You guys are probably watching me smile, but because, you know what, I never would expect this from the car, especially from all the hype that I was hearing about it. It's actually really nice. And what's awesome about it is you can just tone it down. I mean, if it's a little too aggressive for you,
You can just, you know, throw it in Eco Pro and it shuts right off. Engine shuts off, you're back into, you know, full electric mode, and it's like driving a 3 Series with 180 horsepower, the 320i, but just a hell of a lot cooler. That is cool. You can even downshift with the combustion engine, and it sounds awesome. And let me tell you something, this is definitely a head turner. There's not one person that has not stopped to take a look at what I'm driving or try to accelerate close to me and to see if I'm, you know, some NHL hotshot or something driving a fancy schmancy car. This is a really cool car. And it's easy to drive. And just by going through the gears and being reasonable, I've never gone full throttle with this thing. I wouldn't even want to do it right now because A, it's not my car, and B, I don't have $140,000 to replace this vehicle. But I'm telling you, again, if you guys are really interested into this vehicle, or you even question it, go test drive it, because honestly, it does perform very well. Not bad.
I work for her, babe.
Yeah?
I can test drive that if I
There you go. You tell me if the car is terrible or not. Everybody's eyeballing this car. It's fantastic. It really is. It's a fantastic piece of machinery. I don't even need to test drive it anymore. It speaks for itself. You guys just need to come out and drive this thing. It's phenomenal. And the best part, again, I can't stress it anymore, is you just throw it into Eco and that's it. The car's silent. Nobody would ever suspect, except for the exterior body, that it performs the way it does. This is hands down one of my top favorite cars now, just by test driving it. It's sexy, it's nice inside, it's got unbelievable technological advances. It's made out of carbon fiber. It's just overall a really cool vehicle. And believe it or not, if you have been watching my gauges, because honestly, I'm going to be watching the review myself, I have not looked at the gauge cluster at all. I haven't even looked at, I didn't even talk about the iDrive system. So, I mean, you guys can see it, but it kind of tells you what I'm averaging. I've just had so much fun driving this vehicle that I've completely forgot all the electronics. I didn't even look at my revs. I can feel the car. I'm shifting. I know that it's time to shift. There's no need to crank up the RPMs unless if I was on a racetrack. It's a driver's car. It's just fantastic. It really drives phenomenal. And the heads-up display tells you your speed limit, so you don't even need to take your eyes off the car. They made it very easy. And your controls are intuitive. It's all in front of you. I mean, I don't know. Again, I didn't suspect it to be this good. You know, you think an electric vehicle, okay, 131 horsepower with an electric drive system and a 230 horsepower engine. Are you kidding me? 3-cylinder 1.5. It feels like, if you guys are familiar with a marine engine or anything, or Sea-Doos or something like that, if you guys have ever been on a really fast Sea-Doo, like an RXP-X or an RXP Sea-Doo, that's what it feels like instantly, but on a car, which is awesome. It's such a good feeling. Like, it makes you want to just take the car out all the time and drive it. Like, I would drive this thing to death. It's fantastic.
I don't know. I'm just completely speechless. I did not expect it at all. Just based on the specs. They did a fantastic job. And, you know, for more information on the vehicle, we will definitely do an in-depth review. Now that I've test driven this thing, it is totally worthwhile to do an in-depth review. I can't stress it enough. We'll do an in-depth review. We'll try to get you all the information we possibly can on the vehicle. If you guys are interested, I'm pretty sure Bud's has a couple of these vehicles lying around at their dealership. Go test drive one. I'm telling you, worth every penny. I would take this over an M5 just because it's cool. You know, unless, you know, you have kids and stuff, you need the 4 doors, but this is a cool car and it sounds amazing. And the downshifting, oh man, it's phenomenal. I did not expect that at all. Definitely nothing like the i3 in terms of performance. So whatever I said to you earlier, which I'm pretty sure made some sense, it is by far way more superior in drivetrain than the i3. So hopefully you guys like this video. If you have any questions, feel free to message me, or, you know, check us out on our website, www.tccrs.ca. We'll put some more information on the vehicle. I'll try to, you know, search some information about the safety standards, highway crash safety ratings and all that. And, you know, now we've opened up our form section on our website, so you guys can come in. If you guys are i8 owners, feel free to come in there and start talking about the vehicle. I'll even interact with you guys. I'm on there all the time. And yeah, thanks for watching, and there's more to come. This concludes our video review. We'd like to thank Bud's BMW on providing the vehicle to us. And for more information on the i brand or the i3, you can contact Matthew Roden with the information provided. Please subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.